Hey guys, we'll call this one possibly potential perps. So here I'm just hypothesizing, that's it. I wonder if they all agreed on the same storyline, the stalker. Let's get into it. Alright, here we're starting off with who could potentially, be the guy from the grub truck, our beloved JS. So JS said, hey, about that stalker, refer to the Soros sisters. Go talk to them. They'll know more about that. That was interesting to me. And from what I looked up, it seems like KG went to Alpha Phi Soro, and Maddie Morgan was in Pi Beta Phi. So I was like, how many people or perps does that introduce us to? Okay, now we have another woman. She is what I call stalker mention too. This is a white female who is a resident of Moscow and describes herself as knowing KG. She also knows the other 3 victims, right? At the time of the interview, she was a current Alpha Phi Soro member. Just keep that in mind. The paragraph reads, Sergeant Cortez asked, is Goncalves... Oh my god. The sergeant asked if Goncalves ever mentioned anything about a stalker. This person described Goncalves as a person who would just joke things off. She believed there could have been a time where she mentioned something. When recruitment for the sorority was over, Goncalves went over to her house and they were talking and catching up. She thought she mentioned something, but Goncalves pushed it off as a joke. She could not remember anything specific from the conversation since it didn't seem like a big deal. This same woman thought if Goncalves would tell anyone about something strange like a stalker, it would be her ex-boyfriend, who we know as Jack, or Morgan. Jack and Morgan grew up together, of course, and shared a dog, Murphy, together. This person here was very interesting to me, and I'll go on to explain why. Keep in mind this is the same individual, the same woman. She tells us in an interview she resides in a home that overlooks 1122 King Road. She discloses that her room looks directly into the sliding door of the King Road house. She says she also uses AG as private, we know what that is. She says she also received a video from a friend of one of the girls sleeping in their bed. It's so interesting. Why would you need to mention that and that they're also snoring? Could we FOIA that footage, girlie? Tell us. So what I love about this interview is that you start to see the ISP came to work, came to solve some shit. So they asked her, hey, Sergeant Cortez asked her, hey, do you have any idea where they were Friday? Not one, but motherfucking 2 times, dude. Right? Never gives a straight answer during those 2 times. And during this conversation, this same woman, she makes her longest statements about not really seeing them take off from her club. She also, which to me is the Sing Sing, she also makes her longest statements about the stalker, as well as who just couldn't have done it, right? And when she talks about the stalker, she doesn't mention any actual details about the stalker. She uses that opportunity to paint KG as an unsuspecting goofball, a joker, that she didn't take it seriously. And to me, that's very interesting. And she also, in this same interaction, is willing to cross off KG's exes, and especially JD. She is not equipped to speak for anybody else or clear anybody else of the crime, only the investigators. So to me, this is a very sus individual. Continuing on with the same woman, right? Sergeant Quartz has asked the same person, "Hey, did you hear anything that night?" This girl states all of the routine party house stuff and mentions that the sliding door was considered the front door to people who would visit regularly, right? But she didn't know about any knives in the house, and she didn't know if it was locked or unlocked. But she did know that the door was usually open for people. But one thing she is sure about is that the men KG was involved with just couldn't have done this. And that, to me, is still very fishy. And also, I do think that her statement, line 21, that might be a little bit of overcompensating right there. Because how do you fucking know that? It's also sus, because she said that the windows were thin so she could hear everything. And when I say overcompensating, you don't know if people don't have any enemies or not. Line 21 says, oh, Kernoodle knew a lot of people and did not have any enemies. She also says, everyone in the house were amazing people. Are y'all insane or just fucking liars? Come on now. Alright, so we're now moving on to supplemental doc number 8. This guy is interesting. This guy, I think, is described as JD's, Jack DeQua's roomie, right? And on the 12th, him and his girlfriend go to King Road at 10 o'clock, and then they catch up with Kaylee and Maddie at the corner club, and then they leave, right? So he reports that he actually saw a cop car outside of the 1122 King Road house at 11:45 a.m., which is interesting because the phone call on record is placed at 11:58 a.m. Right? What is happening within those 13 minutes there? What is the delay if they were at the home? Right? Until this very day, we have no idea whose car was out there, whose cop car was out there. What else also stuck out to me is that he specifically mentions around 4 to 4:45 a.m. hearing JD's and KD's poodle Murphy barking away. And we hear some sort of dog barking on the release on 112 King Road footage after 4. Also, the same Sorrel sister from the previous doc, she said that she did not hear any barking upon going to bed at 3:30, which I understand, I get that. Now, moving on, JD's roomie also mentions that the girls may have been at the grub truck until 3 to 3:30 a.m. via their social media posts. But when JS places that 911 call that we recently got, he says they were there till about 2:30ish. This same roomie, he denies having any knowledge about a stalker, which is interesting to me. I might continue the series, we'll see where it goes. Thank you for listening. Bye bye.